Good morning, Com 600. Good to meet with you again. I just wanted to greet you, encourage you, and make a few comments about your postings for last week, the first week, and this is the beginning of the second week. Sorry this is coming on Tuesday. I wanted to come out on Monday, but my day just got too busy. Although I did most of my reading of your posts and those kinds of things yesterday. Overall, I have to say I'm real pleased with the quality of the posting you did, particularly comments like I think Barbara West talked about worldview being constantly changing, which is an important concept, that it's never the same. It's kind of like a river. It's flowing along. It's always changing. Our worldview and the worldview of those around us. I think Philip talked about the lens through which we look. And that's really a concept that Lewis talks about as well. That's C.S. Lewis when he talks about that Christianity or our worldview is not the content of what we believe, but it is the lens through which we observe and see all other content or all other things. I especially like the comments made by, I think it was Neil, when he talked about the difference between reality and perception. And that whole conversation, that he did that in response to Carmen's Navarro's post. And I think that whole discussion that several of you got in about the difference between reality and perception. And rather than my weighing in on that right now, I just want to say I really think most of us need to look at that and take that question very, very seriously, particularly as Neil suggested in this postmodern time in which we live, where there's this tension between modernity and postmodernity within our culture. And what reality is reality what we observe or what we perceive, or is there some other kind of reality behind that? And I think that becomes very important for asking a lot of other questions about our worldview. So overall, I want to say that this discussion is very, very useful, very helpful, very important. A few comments to strengthen your posts. Some of you need to reference your ideas a little bit, not just your own thought. Read the book, like in this case for last week and this week, Nikolai, and just comment on that. But go to other sources that help influence, or maybe other sources you're already aware of, or maybe just to look some concepts up. I think we as scholars don't just depend on our own opinion, although we are trying to teach critical thinking skills, but we're also trying to teach research skills where we'll look at other concepts and begin to analyze our thoughts in that and whatever we're reading in light of other scholars' contribution to the discussion. So some of you just gave thoughts out there which were good, but I want you to take that step further. For instance, Neil was talking about postmodernism. He talked about Gertz, which is an excellent book on, I'm sorry, not Gertz, but Grenz, which I've read before. It's an excellent book on postmodernism. So you bring another thought in, another perspective to either strengthen your position or to show another way of looking at the topic. They should not be long quotes, and certainly your whole response should not be a quote. But I think when you bring one or two or even perhaps three other references in, it's very, very helpful. Again, for the discussion, you don't have to use the APA study manual. That's for the major book reviews and papers. Outside of that, let me see, was there anything else that I noticed? Make sure your posts are not too long. If they're too long, find ways of narrowing them down. There should be a good medium, and I think I put parameters. My guess right now is it was 150 to 300 words for your major post, and of course a lot less than that for your follow-up posts. But make sure they're not too long. People's time is valuable, and you should be able to say what you need to say very quickly. You might write it all out, and it might be longer, but then find a way to edit it down to make it. But overall, I'm very pleased with the discussion you had. It's very lively. engaging, and I hope you enjoy finishing up this Nikolai book. Very readable book, very important book, looking at the two worldviews of Freud and Lewis. So this next week, we're just continuing this and responding to the 4 questions I posted for you to look at. I hope you have a great week. Bye.